Around the clock across the world, this is your RT International. From the team and myself, Ewan O'Neill, hello and welcome to the programme. RT is continuing to receive letters and phone calls from former pilots of FlydubaiGate airlines saying they and their crews had been forced to work to the brink of exhaustion. We've confirmed their identities, but they've asked to remain anonymous. One of the pilots provided us with a particularly striking safety report from a flight last year.
While climbing to flight level on a very dark and quiet night, the last thing I remember was crossing flight level 260. When I opened my eyes, we were at level 340 for a few minutes already. My first reaction was feeling ashamed, so I tried to act like nothing had happened. When I turned to my co-pilot to apologize, he was completely asleep. Nobody was in command of the plane for at least 8 minutes, and this is very dangerous. I barely slept 2 hours before reporting for my flight. The co-pilot was in a similar situation due to lots of night shifts. They think that we as pilots only fly and go to bed. They forget that we have a life and a family, and because of this there are lots of factors that affect our stress and fatigue. My personal opinion is that I can do all the night flights they want, but give me one full night of sleep at home to recover properly before the next flight.
Well, RT's Paula Sleer was first contacted by a former FlydubaiGate pilot a week ago, March 19th, the day the company's Boeing jet crashed in southern Russia, killing all 62 people on board. And the communication didn't stop there.
At this stage, we have received more than 25 emails, and I can tell you that that number keeps growing. I received one here on the way to the office, and among those who are contacting us are former pilots, current pilots, many captains, and not just from FlydubaiGate, but also from other airline companies. We know and we have in our possession air safety reports that were issued within FlydubaiGate. Last year, there were more than 150 cases of pilots reporting fatigue after an air journey, and that is just a number of pilots who reported.
If you go and ask how many people call fatigue, probably you will find it out. I also have some photos, but I don't think I had to show it to you. Photos of my colleagues sleeping on the flight, along the flight, because they said, I'm really tired, so I'm going to sleep all the flight. I said, please go ahead. Until
now, we haven't really received an adequate answer to our question to the company as to what is their response about these allegations coming forward. They have chosen, by and large, to remain mum on the issue, and this is the point that the initial whistleblower, that former FlydubaiGate captain, made to me when I spoke to him about a week ago. He said that from the beginning, management has known that a crash was inevitable. There was a survey conducted inside the company more than a year ago where the question was asked, and it was a question to pilots, do you think there is going to be a crash, largely because of fatigue? And more than 80% of FlydubaiGate pilots said yes. And unfortunately now we've seen that with the crash in Rostov. Management is fully aware of these figures, and that is why that initial whistleblower said that he holds management 100% responsible. This is the official response that we have to date received from FlydubaiGate.
For FlydubaiGate, the safety and welfare of our flight crew and cabin crew will always be our priority. You've got to bear in mind that the whole aviation industry is heavily regulated, and we strictly follow authorised flying duty time regulations in putting together our duty rosters, with special attention paid to the variables which are likely to affect our crews, and that includes report times, previous duty, and the number of days off.
The rosters, I think, don't respect any kind of rule. They make their own rules, okay? I have colleagues flying in Emirates, and they all complain about the same way people are treated. It's kind of a modern slavery, even for pilots.
You need to realize that these pilots risk a lot coming forward and sharing information with us. As one of them told me, it is not unknown for people in this part of the world to simply, to quote, disappear. We have verified all their identities, so we know who we're talking to, but of course we cannot reveal that information because people are just simply too afraid. This is a story that is unraveling by the hour, and certainly as more and more people become aware of our investigation, we are receiving more and more tip-offs.
RT is also being contacted by pilots from Emirates airline. It's the largest carrier in the Middle East, and last year was ranked as the 5th best airline in the world, according to passenger satisfaction. But the staff seem to take a different view.
The pilots work too much, they're always tired, and they don't get enough time to sleep. The 7 pilots at Emirates do the same job that 10 or 11 pilots do at European airlines. In Dubai, it's actually the case, if a pilot calls in sick, he will be punished. He will lose money, he will have to report, he will get a warning letter. From a pilot's perspective, you're concerned about fatigue because it makes you sick in the long run. But as a passenger, you should be concerned about fatigue. As you know from driving your own car, when you are very, very tired, I mean really tired, you will make more mistakes and your reaction time goes down.
I have resigned with no job to go to because of the rosters and management style. We all knew it was only a matter of time before a fatigue-related accident happened. My upgrade was delayed because, according to management, I called in sick and sick fatigue too often. The truth is that our rosters are brutal. In my mind, being in this job is like being in an abusive relationship. Yes, I have status and money, but I know it's going to end badly if I stay, with either death or sickness. We're not allowed to talk to journalists, obviously, but I'm so angry that lives had to be lost, families torn apart, all for greed and profit, that I think it's my duty to speak out.
In response, the airline said its strong safety record shows its commitment to ensuring its passengers and crew are not in danger. Emirates also mentioned it takes the issue of flight fatigue seriously and has a special system to manage it. And also that its pilots can go to a regulator if they have concerns. Fatigue has been linked to a number of high-profile aviation incidents. The deadliest took place in 2010 when 158 people died in an Air India crash. We spoke to aviation safety expert Jamie Finch about regulations to prevent pilot exhaustion.
Fatigue is not just an aviation problem, it's a transportation problem all across the board. But I've never seen not just one or two, but so many complaints, and they've actually written out these complaints and concerns to the company. Well, internationally, it varies from state to state. It's according to what those state rules are going to be. As far as what the company's rules are in those particular state countries, ICAO does make recommendations to the countries on what they need to do, but they don't really have any way of enforcing it on that country. The state has to make the decision. It's three-tiered responsibility. It's the state, it's the company, and it's also the individual.
Well, the strap on your screen now is an email address that you can use to get in touch if you've got something you believe can contribute to our investigation. It's an issue that has clearly triggered a strong reaction from pilots in particular who have contacted us.